Hi everyone, happy Molecule Monday. Today I'm going to be talking about silicones, and in particular looking at silicones in skincare products, hair care products, and makeup. So I want to be looking at some myths about these compounds and seeing if we can bust these myths or if there's actually something to be worried about here. So first of all, what are silicones? So silicones are made up of alternating silicon and oxygen bonds, and this bond is actually very special in that it's very strong. It's a very strong bond, it does not break easily, it's thermally stable as well. Also, there have been some studies that show that it actually has some antibacterial properties. And actually, since the 1950s, they've been widely used in beauty products, and for good reason. They're actually very unreactive. Again, going back to that strong silicon-oxygen bond, it's very unreactive. It's unlikely to break. And also, silicones are cruelty-free and vegan. And in addition, they really smooth out the surface of the skin, smooth out the hair when it's used. Silicone products are actually non-comedogenic. They're also hypoallergenic and non-irritating. So based on everything I've just told you about silicones, they sound great, right? Well, there are a lot of rumors surrounding silicones, and I'm going to kind of go over the rumors for the skin. So I'm going to go over the rumors for the skin and also for silicones for the hair, and tell you what do scientific articles have to say about this? Is there anything that you should be worried about actually? Or are we going to bust some myths here? So if you want to find out, just keep watching. So the first myth that we'll start with is a myth stating that silicones suffocate the skin, cause acne, clog the pores, and that they don't allow your skin to breathe. So I did some research trying to see what some scientific articles had to say about this, and I found studies that supported that quite the opposite is true. Firstly, I'll just say this, that the studies support that silicones are unreactive, hypoallergenic, and non-irritating. And in regards to the myth that it causes your skin to be suffocated and that there's a non-breathable layer, I found an article that supported the complete opposite of that. So I found an article I'll show on the screen now that supports that silicones are actually permeable to oxygen and water vapor, and it actually can be a problem sometimes when silicones are used in certain equipments because it actually doesn't form a gas-tight seal. So oxygen and water molecules can actually kind of work their way through this, So that is actually a false myth about silicones. They are semi-occlusive. The silicones are much less occlusive than things like mineral oil or other oils that you use on your skin. But just to be clear, it does not cause a non-breathable layer on your skin. Water and oxygen can still get through. Okay, so there's our first silicone myth busted. There are also myths that silicones are toxic to the body. Well, interestingly, the FDA actually lists dimethicone, which is a type of silicone. They list dimethicone as an FDA-approved skin protectant. So I'll show that on the screen now. And there are many other organizations that are concerned with your health that also state that silicones are not toxic. And for example, in addition to the FDA, Health Canada, European Union Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, UK Environment Agency, Cosmetic Ingredient Review, and Australia's Inventory Multi-Tiered Assessment and Prioritization. These organizations have all said that silicones are not a risk to human health. So in addition to the FDA approving dimethicone as a skin protectant, also silicones are used in a lot of medicated ointments, for example, topical ointments for the skin. It helps the active ingredients penetrate the skin. And it's also used in some medical devices such as, like, for example, pacemakers, because again, they're so stable, they're unreactive. Okay, so there's our second myth about silicones busted. So another myth that I've seen about silicones is that it makes your skin look flawless, but it's actually damaging the skin. Well, I actually have found some studies about how great silicones actually are for moisturizing the skin and keeping your skin hydrated. And for example, there was one study that showed that silicone cream containing 2% silicone actually led to greater hydration of the skin, and it lowered transepidermal water loss, which means evaporation of water from your outermost layer of the skin, than just cream alone containing no silicone. So again, as I mentioned earlier, silicones are not completely occlusive, but they are occlusive enough to help prevent water loss. However, it has been found that it depends on the formula, because there have been certain formulations of silicones that show no effect on transepidermal water loss. So yeah, it definitely depends on the vehicle it's in. There are several studies showing that silicones used in skincare and makeup products do help prevent transepidermal water loss, and in particular, when combined with glycerin, dimethicone actually improves the physiology of the skin and again helps prevent water loss. So silicones are actually great ingredients for those with oily skin. So oftentimes when you see oil-free moisturizers or oil-free foundations, what they use in place of oil is actually silicones. So silicones, even though they are actually oily-like substances, they are a lot more lightweight than mineral oil or other oils that you might use on your skin. Okay, so now I'm going to look at silicones and hair care. And this was actually a topic suggested to me by another YouTuber here named Heidi. I'll link her channel down below. She has a really awesome channel reviewing makeup and skincare products. So yeah, I'll have Heidi's channel linked below, and thanks so much, Heidi, for your suggestion. So many people have questions about whether silicones are good or bad for your hair. So overall, silicones do make your hair look very shiny. It actually coats the shaft of the hair, and actually when it coats the shaft of the hair, that can actually help prevent breakage. So there are some myths that silicones don't really do anything for the hair except for make it look shiny. However, there have actually been some studies that have shown that it actually stops breakage of hair. It helps prevent the breakage of your hair by coating the hair shaft, and not only does it make it appear more smooth, but it also does help prevent breakage. And silicones also help protect your hair from heat. Now, there have been I know a lot of people have questions about silicones building up in your hair. So there are two different types of silicones that we need to discuss here. So you have your water-soluble silicones and your water-insoluble silicones. I'll have a list here of some of the different types of silicones on the screen for you. But basically, so let's take dimethicone for example. Dimethicone is a water-soluble silicone. So it will not build up in your hair. It will rinse off with water. So yeah, dimethicone I think is a great ingredient in hair care products because it not only makes your hair appear smoother and shinier, but it also, again, helps protect from heat damage, helps protect your hair from breakage, but it does rinse off very easily with water because it is water soluble. However, there are some silicones that are water insoluble. I'll have the list on the screen here. So these can actually build up in your hair because they're water insoluble. You have to use a surfactant to remove these products. So, and build up in the hair can lead to issues. So, such as, it actually can lead to breakage. If you have too much buildup of the hair of a substance, it can lead to it lead to your hair feeling and looking weighted down. However, if you use a surfactant to wash it out of your hair, it should be removed fairly easily. But for example, I do have a product that I like to use that actually does have some water insoluble silicones. It's called BioSilk. I'll show a picture of it on the screen here. I like to use this. I don't use this every day, but I use this on occasion if I really want my hair to look really smooth and shiny and really help the split ends look better and just a lot more smooth and a lot smoother. However, it does contain some of the water insoluble silicones, and so therefore I don't use it every day. I only use it for special occasions, again, when I just want my hair to look extra nice. So that would be my recommendation. If you see products that have these water insoluble silicones, you might not want to use it every day, but again, as long as you are using a surfactant, a shampoo, the problem is many shampoos now don't contain sulfates. A lot of them are sulfate free because sulfates can actually be drying to the hair, and I can make a video about sulfates if you're interested in that, but a lot of shampoos are sulfate free, and you really, in order to completely remove those products from your hair, sulfates work the best for that. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I even use products from time to time that have these insoluble silicones, but I again don't use it every day because I don't want it to build up in my hair. However, products that contain water-soluble silicones such as dimethicone, I think are great for hair care because again, it protects your hair from heat damage, it protects it from breakage, and it also makes it look shiny and healthy. So you might hear a lot of hairstylists say that they don't like silicones, for example dimethicone, because it actually can prevent, so if you are going to get your hair treated with dyes, for example, or a perm, then I would stop using silicones a few days before because it can actually affect it can actually cause those not to be as effective. However, once you color your hair or have your hair treated, it actually can help the color last longer if you use products containing silicones in your hair care routine once you have color treated your hair or permed your hair. When you bleach your hair, dimethicone might not feel the same in your hair anymore. It actually make your hair feel weighted down when you bleach it, but there is another silicone that if you have bleached hair you might want to look into. It's called Amodimethicone. It's not as heavy, it doesn't weigh your hair down as much as dimethicone. So if you find that dimethicone weighs your hair down, then look into Amodimethicone. And if you're wondering if it's a water insoluble or water soluble silicone, it's actually kind of in between. It kind of actually can evaporate off the hair, so it is slightly water soluble. It's not as water soluble as dimethicone, but it does wash out of the hair a lot more easily than the insoluble silicones, for example. So that might be a product, an ingredient that you might be interested in if you find that dimethicone maybe weighs down your hair too much. So I hope that this was helpful. I personally think silicones are great ingredients in skincare, makeup, and just keep an eye out for, the water soluble versus insoluble for the hair care products, because again it can potentially lead to a buildup in the hair if you use these water insoluble products and don't wash them out properly. But overall, I think silicones are wonderful moisturizers. I think they make the skin look flawless while also moisturizing the skin. I think that it also helps protect the hair from heat damage, from breakage, and I don't think that it is damaging to the hair, again, as long as you are washing out the insoluble silicones properly. But for example, dimethicone is water soluble, so it rinses out with just water. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Thanks so much for watching this Mythbuster edition of Molecule Monday about silicones. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.